we go. You look nice. Good to see you, Tamara.
How are you? How are you
I'm
feeling?
good. Much better, but I got my socks knocked off. It was really the whole week. I basically had a gastro virus, a stomach flu, but then it took 3-4 days to recover. And just
Wow.
no energy. It was really brutal. There's a lot of people in Toronto that have had it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow. That sucks on a
I
different
know.
level. Because
But you know what? It's okay. I didn't have anything major going on. I didn't miss a vacation or anything. So
nice.
yeah, no, I'm not going to complain about it. It is what it is, right?
Well, we try not to, right?
Totally. So how's it going?
Good. I'm just turning up my phone. I realized that my phone was still on. I was like, oh, that will definitely ring.
Yeah,
So
of course. Murphy's
take
Law.
it off.
Totally.
Things are going good. I mean, there's lots of things, when it rains, it pours. Everything happens all at once.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get the team prepared and reassessing and, all those things to make sure that we're ready and have the resources that we need.
So today, and I know Vera did a little connection with you. Is there anything specifically that you want to share or talk about today?
I don't think there's anything specific. No.
Okay.
I can't think of anything specific. No. Turn this off. I'm sorry. Why is it my phone doesn't want to turn off? I'm sorry. It's no, you can't do that.
If it does go off, that's okay. We can try and edit it out.
Okay, because it will. Just put it on vibrate. Okay. Ready.
All right. So we're recording, but in a second, I'll just clap my hands. And that'll be the beginning of the podcast. And I'll do what I usually do, which is ask you to kind of introduce yourself. I'll ask you to share, who you are, what your background is, what your business is today, and how you stumbled across me.
Okay.
And then we'll just dive in and we'll talk about all the things.
Sounds good.
Okay. Here we go.
All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business.
Okay, welcome to the podcast, Tamara. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here too.
So why don't we just kick off by you sharing in your own words who you are and what you're all about?
Who I am and what I'm all about. Well, my name is Tamara Mclaughlin. I own and principal designer Tamara Marie Designs. We started our firm 3 years ago full-time, but I've been a closet designer for about 15 years.
I love that. A 15-year closet designer.
Yeah.
So what were you doing in those 15 years if it wasn't design?
My background is hotel sales and marketing. So I oversaw millions of dollars worth of assets and full service boutique hotel environments. And being in that environment, design was always important, always part of the process, all about creating experiences for our guests when they came into our home, just a bigger home, right? But, a hotel is a hotel, but it's the experience that makes the difference. So that's how I got my design bug.
I mean, wow, I can't wait to dive into that because I feel like there's so many parallels between hospitality and interior design services, right?
Absolutely.
It's all about the people.
Yes, all about the people every day.
So you wanted to be a designer and now you are. Tell us about that. Tell us about that transition.
Well, I mean, my first experience, someone asked me, well, how did you start? And I had to think about that. It was before working in the hotel environment. I remember when I moved out of my parents' home, and me and my next door neighbor, who was my best friend, Lizette, and I were like, we're going to get our own apartment and we're going to be independent. And I'm like, okay, great. And we found this beautiful brownstone-ish type of apartment. It was so cool and older and had so much character. And I didn't even know I was drawn to that because I didn't grow up in a house like that at such a young age. But what we did is we started going to these yard sales and we went to these estate sales and we just started pulling different cool things and, making candlesticks out of wine bottles and like doing all these things. And I'm like, that's when it all started, when I had my first apartment with my roommate, Lizette, over, 20 years ago or something like that.
But you didn't go into design. It was just like a passion.
It was just a passion. It wasn't something that I thought of as a career. I actually went to school to be a broadcaster. I was broadcast communications. And so design wasn't anywhere in my sphere at that time. But just as I, bought homes or went to my friend's home or family, they'd always ask me for advice. Oh, can you help me with this camera? What do you think about this camera? And then it just became organic as time went on.
Okay. So, but now you have a design firm.
I do.
So when did that happen? Like, how did you make that transition from hospitality to like proper interior design business?
Well, I mean, like a lot of people, when COVID happened, things changed. People had to pivot. I found myself being on a lot of Zoom calls, working at home, and still getting those, hey, Tamara, can you help me out with this? Hey, Tamara, can you help me out with that? Because people were at home. So I decided, well, maybe this is the right time to retire from the hotel hospitality industry and really do this design thing full time. So it was a big leap. It was super scary because I had vested a lot of years, I had a lot of trust. I had all that security, all of those things that make us feel warm and fuzzy. And then I did the complete opposite, pulled the rug from underneath myself and said, go for it. And so 3+ years ago, I decided to start Tamara Marie Designs. And here I am with you today.
Oh my God. Woo-hoo. I love that. It's so fascinating to me how many interior designers, and especially firm owners that I meet on the podcast or I meet in our community that are coming at this as a second, third career. Like you are not alone. There's so many, I'm sure you know that, you've seen that in our community, but there's so many designers that were a decade in something completely unrelated. Yes. I just chatted with Anna Ruth, and she was like a systems analyst for like 13 years. Mm-hmm. And now she's an interior designer. I just think it's so cool that there's so much that you can bring from your past experience too forward into your business that somebody who just goes straight into interior design doesn't have that experience. Like, I think it's so cool.
Thank you. Definitely being in an environment where you're responsible for so much, bringing in so much revenue, managing and operating a team, and, all those things that come with that, your P&L, your expenses, talking to your accounting team, making sure that you have marketing, money, making sure that you, are planning ahead for those trips and those sales calls and processes and all those things. So that part of the process became more organic for me when running my business. It's just tying, and I think we're going to talk about this, tying that into actual design and process, and making that work for where I am today.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you find me?
I think it was over a year and a half ago. I was maybe your prior pop training that you had, and I wasn't quite ready at that time to invest into, the training. And so a year later, I was like, because I kept watching you and, following you on Instagram and listening to your tidbits and going on and getting all those free things that you were offering and storing them in my files. And I said, you know what? My business is growing. listening to feedback from my clients, listening from feedback from the team that I had at that time. I'm like, this is the time that we need to invest, not only in myself and the business, but also my team. So that's when we decided to, hey, let's do this. And that's how I found you.
I love it. It's interesting, like your story. I've heard that before, where people are like, "Oh, I found you a year ago, or I found you a while ago, and I like saw the course, but I wasn't quite ready." And I do think we see a lot of designers coming into Power of Process that are 1 to 2 years really into running their design firm, whether it's their first or second career, and they've kind of like trial and error things a little bit on their own, and then they've come to this realization that, okay, yeah, I'm ready for a little bit of help. Like
Yes.
I'm ready to like take it to the next level in a way, right? Is that how you felt? Like, okay, I've done what I know I can do. Like, what else is there? How can I bring this and make it better?
I love what you said about take it to the next level, because that's exactly where we were. I mean, we had clients, we were doing jobs, we were busy, but I felt like, you know what, I need to find a resource that's specifically for designers and design firms that can bring us and help us with process, understanding pricing, overcoming objections with clients, and then also the community. The community I wasn't expecting to be so vast, A, open, B, and being able to learn from other people in such a short period of time and making connections with people that I'm still chat with today that I can reach out to and say, hey, what about this? What do you think? And it's organic and natural for people to respond and still engage. So it's authentic. And so that's what I really appreciated about the community and going through the training with you.
I love hearing that because, it's funny. I say this all the time, but, I created the course to teach the content, right? And the community aspect was because I just love community and I love to connect and I love collaboration. But it's like I created the course to teach, but actually what it does is foster community almost more than anything. And it's so amazing to hear like all of our POP alumni say, wow, the community. It was like the community being able to show up live, right? Inside the study hall sessions,
Yes.
The live Q&A, the access to me, which I know a lot of courses don't have the same access. They don't have the same community aspect. And everyone's always, I guess, surprised, which tells me I don't do a good job of marketing that aspect. Or maybe it's that people they don't know that they need it until it's there.
Yes.
Would you say that's what it is?
For me, my experience, I would say yes. I was hoping that would happen, that I'd be like, oh, there's more people that are thinking or in the same position that I am, or have the same type of questions. You don't know what you don't know sometimes, right? And so that's what I found in the community, that, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I thought I knew that, but that's something that I should add. It was always these little nuggets of things coming at you where you're like, whoa, that could be really powerful for my customers. Oh, I didn't think about this could help my team. And so I think, you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. It's like, then you start experiencing that and it's becomes like light bulb moments start popping up all over the place. So I found that really cool.
That's awesome. I love that. What was there something about Power of Process that surprised you?
Surprised me. That's a good question. I don't think there was anything that surprised me. I guess, all the things that we're talking about, I guess, is a surprise, you can say, right?
Yeah.
So, all these light bulb moments, all these things that came to us as, your offerings to us, during the course, like, hey, I have a reference guide, or I have this material that you can go back to, the deep dive into your ideal client. I mean, those, even though you outline what the course is about, but once you actually start going through that process, I would say those were all really surprising to me. That stuck out to me the most, I should say, if we want to call it a surprise, is evaluating your ideal client. That was pivotal, life-changing for my business.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I hear that. It's amazing because most of us don't take the time to really stop, think, and get intentional. So I'm so curious, Tamara, who was your client before taking Power of Process, and who is your client or the dream client now?
My client was anyone that was willing to pay me for a job. No, it was a little bit more in depth than that. We started off doing a bathroom or a kitchen, wasn't like full home remodels when we first started. And then as we started getting referrals, they became bigger and larger. And going through that exercise, I found out that my client was a busy person, not a lot of families, usually single or a couple without children, fast-paced career, just wanted somebody they can trust to take it over and just make it happen. As I evolved, that became my ideal client. It wasn't intentional. I wasn't doing anything intentional to find that client, but it just kind of happened that way. And then as I was going through the list, when you asked us to compare and write down all the things that are in aligned and versus which aren't aligned to what we wanted to work, who we wanted to work with, and what was a good fit for our company. That's when I started discovering, oh yeah, that is our ideal client. It just kind of happened fluidly, but I didn't really pay attention to it. So now, as a result of that, when we get an opportunity, not only myself, but our entire team can identify immediately if this is a client that would fit for, the services that we provide with our firm.
So now you can approach, new leads with intentionality, and probably
Absolutely.
your marketing, and you're really clear on who you serve. I think that's really cool. It's like you had a certain type of client, but you hadn't paused to really reflect on it and pay attention to, it's all single women, or it's all couples, or that's cool. That's really cool. How many people are on your team?
Well, full-time, I have 2 people. I have a director of client services and I have an operations director. And the reason why those 2 positions are key, we have accounting and we outsource and all those things, but I say we are the 3 key pivotal pieces that run the machine. And I don't want to discount other people that are working on our team because everyone's important and plays an important role. But, in the beginning, we were getting feedback about communication, especially when working with most of our projects have contractors involved. So there's a lot of communication, and there were some pitfalls there. And I was like, I put on my hotel hat and just thought about all the key positions and what they did and how they serviced. And for us, I said, I want to have someone just focusing on our client, just helping communicate daily, weekly, whatever it is, someone that's accessible for our clients at any time within reason, right? Within our boundaries. And just having that resource, because I wasn't always available because I was running on job sites and all over the place. But I wanted some sanity when it came to our customers. So, Chelsea, who is like a godsend, and she's great with people, and she's taken it to a different level with some of the things that we shared with the training, like automation, how we communicate, just using the calendar for appointments and walkthroughs and, reminder appointments and all those things that she just focuses on that. It just puts our service level like top notch. in my opinion.
Wow,
And then
that's awesome.
with our director of operations, it's all about sourcing and just focusing on, working with our contractors and scheduling walkthroughs and updates on, sites and process, which we now have, right? We have a 7-step process, and just making sure that we're following it and keeping us all on track. So by having those key positions, it's just been amazing. And I think our customers really appreciate it.
I mean, honestly, Tamara, I'm so impressed, first of all, that you have really looked at this as a true business owner, and that obviously your experience in the hotel world is informing these choices. And I love that you were like, wait a minute, let me reflect, because I'm pretty sure that most designers listening right now are like, oh my gosh, how she must have massively big projects and so many of them to be able to afford a client communications or director of client services. Like, that's fancy. And then the same thing with operations. Like, most designers are like, okay, I'm going to hire a junior designer and then I'm going to hire an admin. And I just love that your brain thinks that way. Like, how many projects do you have a year on average?
On average, well, when we're at busiest, we can have up to 10 projects running at a time. We've evolved to now we're doing more on commercial side, which I really love. And it's really fun. It's a lot of work. And again, we had to pause and relook at our process again, because, how we do a residential project versus how we do a commercial project, some of the same process still apply. But sometimes there's more steps. Okay. And the longevity of the project could be a little bit longer. So that's becoming something that we are considering. Do we need more resources to help? But as long as we have those key positions, we've found some great people that we can outsource based on by project. So, originally I thought, I have to hire all these people, but I really don't. I've interviewed, other designers that I can outsource to help with renderings and elevations, right?
Right.
So we have our top 3 people we can reach out to based on the project. Okay, this person would be great for this project, or this person would be great for that project. Same applies to, an architect or a drafter. Same applies to contractors. So in essence, I have a virtual big team of people, right? But they're not on my daily payroll.
Got it. So you have full-time client services and operations.
Yes.
And you.
And me.
I love that. Like, I think there's designers who are going to hear that and they're going to be like, why didn't I think of that? That's brilliant. Because you can outsource to freelancers, independent contractors, and then not put the burden on the designer that you hire to also manage all the client communication and, make sure they're happy and deal with customer complaints or challenges on the job site. Like, oh man, Tamara, we got to dive into this again. This is like gold. I love this. I'm rethinking my whole structure right now. I love it. Well, I mean, what it does show your clients is that you're really committed to customer service and delivering that service. And as a result, you can charge more money because you're delivering on your promise.
Absolutely. And, the pricing was always a challenge from the beginning. What should I be charging? I mean, what I was charging before, I know I was not making any money. I wasn't making any money. We were having fun, but we weren't making any money. And so I was hoping and praying that by doing your course, that would help me identify where we're lacking, how to become profitable and consistent, right? So it wasn't something that had to change for each project or each client, and that we could be more transparent about those fees and feel confident about it based on our value and what we bring to the table. So that was, again, another game changer for us.
So did you take pricing with confidence?
I did.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's what I thought. So did you change your pricing structure after taking that course?
I did immediately. I did. It was
Tell us
like,
about that. I'd love to hear a little bit about that. Like, what were you charging before versus what you've
oh
changed
my
it to
God, I'm
now?
so embarrassed. Well, like
It's helpful
we
for
were,
others to hear
I
that because
know we
others are in
were,
the same situation.
I know, I posted something about being vulnerable and having humility and being grateful. And part of the humility part is like being transparent, right? So with our jobs in the beginning, we were like between $2,500 to $5,000 for a job. And that could be for a bathroom, I would be like 2,500. And then for sometimes a couple of times for a full home remodel, I mean, I was under 10 grand. And I was grateful, right, for that. But it wasn't profitable for my business. And I wouldn't be able to sustain that and provide the services that my clients deserved, be able to pay my key people what they deserved. So I was like, something has to change. But it's scary, right? It's scary to be like, oh, I'm going to do this and kind of hold your breath because I'm like, oh, I'm going to lose clients. No one's going to want to hire me. They're going to say, are you crazy? Why are you charging these crazy prices? And then going back to the training, understanding your value, what you bring to the table. This is a profession. There's a reason why people are looking for a designer. It's a luxury service, putting all those things in my head and on my sticky notes everywhere, reminding me every time I thought about discounting my, but Lauren, my director of operations, is really good at reminding me not to discount. Both of the girls are, but getting to that point where we're holding our breath there for a minute because it was like, ooh, climate's changing, after COVID. So we had to really stick with it. And I'm glad we did. I'm so happy that we did because now we're in a position where we're like talking about, ooh, I don't know if we could take that project. Maybe it's going to have to be a year out. And people are okay with it.
So now how much are you charging on average for similar projects that you charged $2,500 for?
So currently we have a 3-tiered system. So we have design fees are based on a dollar per square foot, right? So we have a range based on the scope of the work. And then for implementation phase, we are a percentage of budget, total budget, right? So, and that can range, anywhere from, I think right now we're from 10 or 18 to 25%. And then for styling or interior styling, we have a dollar per fee, an hourly fee that we charge. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit more flexible and custom. We can customize it to what the project is. So I think people feel like they have more options and understand exactly what they're paying for.
Awesome.
And your little cheat calculator really makes sure that we're being profitable in pricing. Just a little tidbit. If you're thinking about the pricing module, you get a calculator so you can put all those fees in there and make sure that every project's profitable.
Oh, yes. Good. Oh, I'm so glad you're using it.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. I love that. I know for me that when I switched to the pricing model that I went from charging the same thing. I was like $5,000, maybe $7,500 for like a main floor reno, to then charging like $15,000 plus $20,000 for the same thing. And it was like overnight and people paid it.
Yes.
And I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, I've been leaving so much money on the table. No wonder I'm like in the red.
Yes. Yes. And it's a horrible feeling, right? It's a horrible feeling to have those late nights. I know we all had these nights, that you sleepless nights, right? Thinking, okay, or when is my next job going to come? Am I going to be able to pay my team? Am I going to have to give them less days or what have you? And it sucks. It really sucks to be in that position, but it feels so good to be in a position to know that hey, we're taking jobs where all of us are going to be taking care of, ourselves, the team, and the client.
Oh my gosh. You're like my poster child for taking the course, doing the work, and getting the results.
Thank you.
I
appreciate it so much. And now where we're at with literally things have changed overnight, and just the type of projects that we're taking, with these new commercial projects, I was using the pricing module, and I was like, oh, no way. When you look at those numbers, you're
like sticker shock, right?
Yeah. I'm like, no way. No way is this going to happen. Right. The little doubter on my shoulder.
And
it's hey, it's the price of doing business. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we're doing this. Okay. This is what it is. Okay, great. No pushback. I'm like, oh, should I charge more? But it's, when someone says no problem, it's like, oh, maybe I was a little bit too low. But,
right, that's what
it's all a learning process. It's exciting, right? And I wouldn't have been able to get to this place unless I had the education and the knowledge. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, I'd work for, one of the more designer that people know, right? Or designers that I admire. I'd work for them for free for one day to get that information.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then I'm like, do they really know it? I mean, they know something, but I'm like, I don't know if I would need to do that.
It's all smoke and mirrors. You probably know more than they do.
But, you can learn something from everyone, but now I'm like the confidence level's there. So it's all worked out fantastic.
I love it. What city are you located in?
I'm in Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles. Awesome.
Yes.
We got a lot of Californians. Is that what you call someone from California? Californian?
So Californian, yeah. California,
okay.
Yeah.
We got lots of Californians in our POP. I love it.
Yes, it's cool to see that there are other people in the, Los Angeles area that were going through the same things that we could reach out to and talk and kind of collaborate, maybe have a coffee. I love the idea of, because you never know what you're going to learn from a conversation or experience that someone else is going through. And I love having those conversations. I've even put on my calendar now up to 2 networking events a week. I wasn't doing that before because I was so entrenched, right? So entrenched of the day-to-day operations. And someone told me, Tamara, you got this down. You have your people, you have your process, your clients are happy, you're getting bigger and better jobs. Get yourself out there. Because I'm like in my office or on a job site, in my office or on a job site. And I want the opportunity to be creative, learn new things, find new tradespeople, all those things where now I feel like I'll even see you, Rebecca, in Las Vegas because I'm going to the Las Vegas market. I hope to see you. But I wasn't doing those type of things before. So I'm excited about the next phase, right, of elevating my business.
I love that you shared that because, I often say, okay, take power of process, like get your system sorted, build your confidence, have a process so that you can free up your time to do whatever it is that lights you up. And I love that you use an example that I would never have thought of that is so brilliant. It's like, now you can attend those networking events. Now you can up level your knowledge base by going to market. You can connect with other industry professionals. You have the time because your business is structured in such a way that it can run not entirely without you, but you're getting there, I think, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I feel like I felt sometimes I was like, ooh, should I be doing something? Like that transition of having more personal time. And I'm like, wait, this can't be right. Why do I feel like there's like too much time on my calendar? And I'm like, wait a minute, this is what I'm supposed to feel like. Not that it's completely freely dilly, but it's much more of a place where I have more time for myself, more time to explore and learn. And that's very freeing. I didn't think that I'd get to this place so soon.
Wow. Wow. I'm like amazed by that. So what do you think it was that shifted that allowed you to have more time?
I think putting the process in place, not only for the 7-step process that you teach us in POP, but also applying that to like my team. So Mondays we have we call it a workflow meeting, right? And in our workflow meeting, it's very intentional. Like we have all the projects that are in the pipeline. I think you may have talked about this about your meetings, and where we're at, making sure where we at in the implementation phase, or we are in this phase, are we going through our checklist? By having all those things in place, it's just like boom, 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 right? And then I can leave my people alone. I don't have to, like before, we were just texting and calling each other all day long. We start off the week knowing exactly what our plan is, what we need to do. And of course, things come up, right? But before, it was just, I don't know, should I say chaotic? Is that the right word? Maybe a little chaotic. Or it was just like everything was so reactive, where now we're more proactive. It's not a reactive environment, it's proactive, so we can get ahead. We were talking today, we had a catch up before jumping on with you, and we're talking about, okay, now let's talk team. And it's so cool, it's so yummy to hear them talk in this way, because I've seen them evolve too as young professionals. And I said, you guys can go and run your own biz after this, like you got all the fundamentals, and it excites me, right? But going back to my point, it was like, okay, my director of client services, Chelsea's like, okay, we have X, Y, and Z coming in the pipeline. These are all huge contracts. Do we need to revisit our list of contractors? Because we may need more to handle some of the smaller jobs. Let's talk about this. And I'm just like,
look at me go, girl. I love it. Oh my gosh.
Right? Amazing. Right?
Amazing.
So I'm like, are we really doing this? And they're like, yeah, this is what we're doing. Wow, what a difference a year made. Thank you, Rebecca.
You are more than welcome. Thank you. Thank you for implementing and doing the work and like sharing your results with our community, because
Thank you.
It's so inspiring to see just what you say, what a difference a year makes.
Yes, it can happen when those days when you just feel defeated and feel like, is this the right thing? Did I make the right decision? All those doubtful questions we ask ourselves. I believe in, spirituality, and I believe in manifesting, and I believe in meditation. And, I just kept putting it out there in the universe, right? What I wanted it to look like, right? I just kept putting it out there, putting it on the wall, putting, sticky note reminders, little things that I heard or someone say, even during POP or even you. I put a sticky note and put it, on my office board in front of me, and just kept trying to manifest what I wanted, what I saw for this dream of this company and what I saw in the future. And that's what got me through it. So I would say for anyone that's in that position, it will happen for you. Believe in the process, invest in learning and putting your process into place, and it will all come to fruition.
Oh my gosh, woman. Thank you. You're such an inspiration. What would you say to someone who's still on the fence and they're like, I don't know if I'm ready to invest because I'm still so early in my career? What would you say to that designer right now?
I would say you're at risk of losing more money than investing and getting this process down and learning it. There's no amount of money. And I would say I lost a huge amount of money with a client that I was working with, and things just went down the rabbit hole really quickly. And it cost me $100,000.
Woman.
$100,000. It was the best mistake I ever made.
I love that. I love how your perspective. It's amazing.
You have to. You can either cry, which I did. It's all working its way out. But at the time, it was devastating for my business. I mean, that's a lot of money, right? But I feel like if I would have had some of those safeguards, making sure my contract was in place, not assuming the liability from a contractor, right? So my contracts were with the contractor instead of the contractor having the contract with the client. Those kind of things that make me vulnerable and liable. So if I had that knowledge, then most likely I wouldn't have been in that position. So that's why I say, invest now, because you may lose more as a result of not having these things in place.
Amazing. So well said. All right. Well, we're coming to our end of our time together. And the question that I always ask every guest, I feel like you've shared so many nuggets, though, by the way. I feel like that was a nugget. So I feel like I'm being a little greedy to ask for more. But what last nugget of wisdom would you share with the other design firm owners that are listening today?
I would say, don't forget to have fun. This is why we all got into this business, because we love design. We love making people feel good. We love that moment of, oh my God, this is beautiful. Thank you so much. Don't forget that. Sometimes I forgot about that. And so when you're doubting yourself or you're in that moment, go back to that time where you had a moment that made you feel warm and fuzzy because you made your client's dream come true.
I love that advice. That is the first time I'm pretty sure anyone has said that on my podcast. Wow. So I think that's really great. It's like, just remember why you got into this in the first place, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We get to do something that we love. And if we can set ourselves up for success by having a process, a team, then we really get to do the parts that we love.
Exactly. Yes. I love that.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today, Tamara. Can you please let everybody know where they can find and follow you?
Thank you. It's Tamara Marie Designs. That's my Facebook, my IG, and everything is Tamara Marie Designs. So if you're looking for me, that's the way you can find me. That's my tagline.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh boy, guys, that was so humbling. Like, what an incredible conversation with Tamara. Tamara, thank you so much for just opening up and sharing and being vulnerable and truthful. And, after we stopped recording, we both had like an emotional moment filled with gratitude. And I'm still totally blown away by seeing this interior design community, these design firm owners who are taking power of process, really implementing and actually making massive changes in their business. Like, it is so amazing. It just warms my heart. It gives me, honestly, it gives me purpose. It makes me want to keep moving forward and like sharing my message and sharing our knowledge with the world and bringing designers together. Because one of the big takeaways is that, Tamara talks about the community. And so it's not just about the information that I, Rebecca, share. Yes, it's valuable. Yes, I give you resources and templates and tidbits, but you also absorb so much information from your compadres, from your colleagues, from the others in the industry who are either forging ahead of you or a little bit behind you or right there with you. And there's so much growth that can happen when we just tap into the knowledge of the others that are in the same boat. I hope that if you heard this episode and you are ready to make change, you join us inside Power of Process. I mean, if this episode wasn't evidence enough at the power of establishing a process in your business while being supported live with a community, then I don't know what is. You can join us inside Power of Process for our fall session coming up September 26th. You can secure your spot right now because space is limited. Just go to RebeccaHay.com/Power of Process. I'm so excited to welcome the new cohort. And because when you do Power of Process, you get lifetime access, you might even get to chat with Tamara inside the group. So many of our POP alumni come back to take the course again, especially this time, there'll be a lot of them because we are updating the course and there are a lot of new lessons. There's a lot of new content that wasn't delivered before. Those past students get access to it and they are there to support and give back to the community. So if you guys are curious, or maybe you're still on the fence, I'm sure you could reach out to Tamara. Please do not hesitate to send me a DM on Instagram. Ask your questions. I am here for you anytime to talk all things business. All right. I hope you guys enjoy this episode with Tamara. See you soon.